How's it going, internets? I hope you're having a lovely day. It's that time again. It's time to get into some animation. It's time to get all that creative sparks flying. Time to get inspired and get imaginative. And today's inspiration comes from Jerzy Drozd. If you're not familiar with him, check right over here. He's a phenomenal webcomic artist, but what I really appreciate from him is just his passion and the way that he shares information, and really I feel like he's really a great voice for the webcomic and comic community, and expanding out into any sort of creative means and illustration and even animation and all that stuff. So definitely check out, he's got a couple of podcasts and a couple of YouTube stuff that I will link down in the information below. You can also check his website out at jdrozd.com. And I wanted to share just a little quick mini comic that he did that you guys can grab for free too, and check out all his stuff, and it's just called Pickles and Taft. His work is really colorful, but like I said, with Jerzy, what I really appreciate is the message behind all of his work. He always does stuff that seems to be very positive and very uplifting, and it's great for people of all ages, and I think that it's a great voice to have in this community for sure. But definitely check out his stuff. Like I said, he's got a great sense of that kind of Saturday morning cartoon feel that was around in the 80s, 90s, and even in the early aughts. So definitely check out his stuff. Again, I'll link to it below. He does have a podcast and a YouTube show as well. I know his old one used to be Art and Story. That's the one that I was big in, and it's wonderful, phenomenal. They still have the archives up at Art and Story, just Google it. Anyways, I grabbed a quote from an interview that he did as well. It said, "Contributing in a positive way to your environment so that your name means something to people." And he was talking about how to kind of stay relevant, or to get these to get good jobs in a community or in an industry, is to just I would take that even and apply it to your work. I think that's a little more important than your individual. If you have work that means something to people, that's positive, that's something that's going to contribute to the medium that you're in, that people will remember, it's definitely what you're striving for, what we're looking for. And now that may be yourself, but I tend to think, at least in the way that I look at stuff, I want it to be the work that speaks for itself. So that being said, definitely something to think about, and definitely in the comments down below, let me know what you guys think about that, because overall I think there's no doubt, if you can contribute to your community in a positive way, that's a good step to have, and to make leaps and bounds forward over other people in the community. If you can be remembered for somebody that's a positive influence, that's the way to go. So that being said, let's go ahead and look at today's animation. We're going to be using a Goblin rig. It's a free rig you can grab over at Creative Crash, that I will link to in the description below as well. And if you're not familiar with what we'll be doing for the rest of this video, we give ourselves 48 frames. That's 2 seconds of animation. And I've never used this rig before. It's a new rig to myself, and I try to bring a new rig for you guys to try out every day. And we'll see what we can come up with. So that being said, let's dive right in. And we're just going to change our frame range from 0 to 48. And go ahead and turn our grid off here. And we'll zoom out a little bit, and we'll create a polygon primitive. So we'll create a little cube here, just so we have a base, and we're a little off-centered. So we'll go ahead and move that over a little bit more, just so we have a base to start with. And I was thinking for this one, if we hang the tail above the head, that'd be kind of fun, and then stand them up, I think would be what we're going for. Just try to do something a little bit different than would be typically done probably with a rig. That's not the way to do it though. Let's see. Let's grab all of this. The hip control. Let's see if we can do it in the hip. Okay, let's try turning this to 0. It's breaking the tail though. Okay, so we might have to do something different. So let's grab all of these here. Let's see if we can't lift it up a little bit more at least. let's see, we're getting some of those joints to pull out, so we might have to keep it more aligned to a quadruped. Okay, that's alright. Let's go ahead and turn everything off except for our nerve curves, nerve surfaces, and our polygons. That way we're seeing if that stuff is still going to affect us. Yeah, because it disconnects the tail. Darn. Okay. Do we not even get a... All we get is a rotating X here on the tail, I guess. So, just trying to figure out where we can go with this rig. So I think our original idea just might not work. So let's see. Just gotta be right here. Just had to set a key on them, that's all. Okay, that's fine. Let's just set that. Nice. Tail. Oh man, it's just a funky setup on the tail here. Okay, well then let's just go ahead and keep it broken, and we'll try and go from there. Just so that we can twist it here a little more. Like I said, with getting a different rig every time poses different challenges that we have to come up against. Do we have a switch or not? Elbow controller here. It's going to be kind of funky, but I think we can get somewhere with that. Hopefully. What the heck? Okay, just want to make sure those feet, there was some weird constraint there. It looked like it was going, but looks like it cleaned it up. Just want to find a good storytelling pose to start off with. it's just trying to make it work. It's gonna take a lot of counter animating and everything. Let's see if we can make it work. Oh, these are elbows. No, it's the back pivot. So I feel like there's gotta be. Oh, there it is. Okay. Alright, we found it. Let's grab both of them. Okay, now we can make this work. We can do it. You can do it. Let's see what we can do here. Just do a little tail like that. It's kind of weird, but maybe that might be a little better. Let's just leave it like that for now. We'll get in there and tweak it up later. And again, we are kind of doing what's not. This rig is based for a quadruped, and we're trying to tweak it up, but I think it'd be more interesting doing it this way. Okay. Let's display that, rotate those feet out a little bit more. And where's that? Control. I feel like that's kind of cool looking. This thing. It's kind of weird, a little deformed, but I think if we can get this to work. Let's tweak it. Let's go ahead and save our file just with what we have right now. And let's get a little bit of hang on those fingers. Just want to try and get as much information into this first pose as we can. And we'll go from there. So get a nice storytelling pose here. Hand posing. again, let's make sure we have everything turned off except for our no curves, no surfaces, and polygons. And let's go and grab everything, go to frame 0, and set it to there. Alright, now let's get started building this wall. Apologies, sounds like they're doing some yard work outside, so let's go ahead and build the foundation, which is going to be the feet and the hips. So let's get that other foot planted. It's kind of funky that the feet are set up that way, but that's okay. It's a little too far forward. Pull back a little bit. Set this one again there and go forward to 24. And again, some of these rigs are going to be a little bit easier to use than others. And also, since we're doing kind of a different idea than is probably necessary for this rig. Intended for it, but I like to break stuff sometimes just for the fun of it, give us some extra challenge and try and do something different. And sometimes you go too far when you break stuff. Sometimes you don't go far enough. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and set that there, and let's go ahead and move that foot forward again, and move the hips forward again. Okay, let's kind of look at spacing that we have between the feet and make sure this might be too far forward. Hips will be too far forward. We want to make sure we copy the key. Just making sure we're keeping our steps kind of uniform. Steps are just too big. Okay, I'm just kind of shrinking these steps down a little bit more. Pull the hips back a little bit more. Pull that step back a little bit more. Since again. Okay. And it's going to get that up, down, down. So there's a little bit of raise and lower here. Gotta figure out what we're going to do about that tail. But I won't necessarily tackle that yet. We'll get the rest of it working here. And let's look at the translate. I'll probably X on this one. Should be the left or right. Maybe it's translate 1. It should be translate X. That's consistent here. Let's put downs here. get some side to side at least. Let's see. Okay, at least we can get side to side. Because if that was going to be busted too, that was just going to be a little too. Everything having to work off of two different tangents. Splines make that a lot more interesting, that's for sure. We're just adding that passing position here. Just locking in those steps here one more time. We'll add, raise that up, play it down, raise it up, and play it down. So it's up and down the hips then. Let's see. We got to get that somewhere. So we'll just kind of mix controllers here. Since we're not sticking with the typical way this rig would work, it's going to take some definite work and creative thinking to get it to do better. Okay, yeah, let's try and even that out a little bit more. Get a little more consistency here. And I think maybe we could do some like compression rotate to get the rest of it moving. It might work. To kind of build in the same idea that we had before. And again, we're just kind of evening this out a little bit more. So it's not like one side is favoring the other. So let's go ahead and take a look at that now, see if that give us some sort of up and down there. Okay. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of side to side here. Translate Z to favor the planted foot. And back again. Back again. Back again. And then 0. At least that one was easy. That one was pretty direct. Didn't have to use two different controllers or two different channels to get that. Couldn't think of that word, channels, for some reason. Okay, and let's do a little bit of rotate a little bit X here. A little bit of rotate X. Obviously, little goes a long way with this rig, that's for sure. We sure have a lot of broken things that we've caused already, and that's the thing that I know we've talked about before, is that you know, you can complain about the problems in your in an animation shot, but you kind of create your own problems. Because we could just do this typical, like on all fours, and probably the rig would work a lot better, but that'd be typical. It wants to be typical. It'll be fun. We'll try something different. So let's see here. Let's try and offset that a little bit. So we'll do a little bit of rotate some Y here. And it is funky how the hips and the chest are on such different orientations there. go ahead and turn our textures off here. Let's see if we can get a little better speed going. Okay. Let's look at the feet again. Okay, drag that foot back. It's probably Z on this one. No. Okay, it is X on here. Actually, maybe we'll try something different. Try a different controller, see if there's a... Okay, this one. Okay, P-Flex. Toe tap and toe. Yeah, doing toe tap. I just don't like how these feet settle so much. I like them to be like that. Not the whole thing. Let's go and get this. And do a toe tap there. Raise it up. And zero it up. Toe tap. Raise it up. And zero it out. That's it. Let's go and look at both of these guys. And should we let's translate Z on here? I wonder why I didn't on the hips. Oh well, it's okay. Let's just make sure that those are working correctly and are not easing in or easing out of them. Let's go ahead and look at that now. It should be a little more consistent move here. It's going to do a little bit of rotate X here. Okay, we go on top, rotate Z, I guess. Lift it up. Down. That's how we'll get kind of our up and down a little more here. Again, this is probably over the top, so definitely go back in there and we'll clean that up a little bit more. And one of the things that I wanted to do with this channel is to grab different rigs or try different things that I maybe hadn't really 100% done before, or that have the opportunity to fail, I guess would be to say that, because I think there's interest in showing the process and how animation works. I know when I was first learning, it'd be like, okay, here's the, this is this step, and this step, and it's a, a master crafter. They've probably polished the video up and done a ton of it. And one second, one more guy. Let's offset that and chest here. Okay, so like I was saying, they have like a master craftsman doing it. They show you a 15-minute video of how to animate it, and then it's like, okay, now you do it. The thing is, you get there and you're not getting all the steps of how to do it. You're not getting the, okay, what happens when it goes wrong? What happens when this comes up, or when that comes up, or any sort of things like that, where you're not getting the full animation experience. And I wanted to share that with you. So that's why sometimes we'll have videos that are really quick and really succinct and seem like there's no hiccups or nothing, and then we have other ones where we try and push stuff really far, and that might create problems and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's important to show and to have those moments so that you guys know when you're working on your animation as well, that that's a common thing. You're not wrong for it. You have to push through those things and learn from them and grow from them. And I think that's an important reason for why I wanted to do this channel, was to have something that you don't have to pay for a school to learn this stuff. You know, I can share this stuff right here with you. Again, you know, I haven't done, you know, 4,000 animated films and have a whole mess of credentials and anything besides an animation degree, and then I've been doing this for a couple of years, but that you guys can learn or grow, or like I say always too, just at least get inspired to go off and create your own stuff, because you might see my stuff and go, you know what, I can do way better than that. Now I'm going to go create my own thing, and that's great. That's what I want. I want to try to cultivate this mentality of a creative mindset, so that you guys are off going and creating your own stuff, and then share it back, and we can learn from each other and grow in that way. And at the same time, I wanted to do something because when I first was learning, I felt a little bit lost in that, you know, they throw you in a lot of these animation schools, which I love, expecting that you've already had at least some learning or some growing. It's not like a start to finish kind of a thing. So I feel like this is a good, you know, maybe level 1 or level 2 kind of intro, so that anyone could come in, follow along, and do it their own way as well. So you don't have to follow exactly the same thing, but at least get there, so that then you can go off to an animation school and you can already have a good solid foundation to grow from there. So that was kind of, I don't know why I got into that chat so much, but I think it's just, I don't know, it was something that I wish it had existed when I was first learning animation. So I hope that helps you guys as well. Tone down that rotates a little bit more. Go to the neck. So kind of be a little delayed here. So again, let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. If you think this is helpful and everything to you. It seems like the channel is always growing. So I hope that you guys are learning a lot. If there's things you'd like me to do, I think that might be a little too much, but I think that's a better idea there. If there's different rigs you'd like me to try out, or that you created a rig, if you're a rigging artist yourself and you want someone to test it or any of that kind of stuff, or share it around, definitely let me know. If there's different kind of videos that you'd like to see, let me know. I'm thinking for the next, I might have mentioned this before, for the next group of videos we'll be looking at, there's a thing of like 30 animation exercises or animation things that every animator should do, and I thought it would be fun to kind of go through that with you guys as well. So let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in as well. Let's go and look at the head here. Keep that. I don't want to intersect that though, so I'll lift it out. even it out a little more. Like I said, this video is probably going to be a little bit longer than the last couple have been, just because we're trying something that's basically, this rig isn't really designed for this, but I thought it would be a fun idea to try and turn it into something a little bit different. Like I said, I feel like it's just, it's almost, the silhouette won't be that good in between here, especially at places like this, so you just want to avoid that it's not going to look like it's touching right there. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all of our rotate C's here, and we're just going to nudge them up just a little bit, just to make sure that we're not getting into that territory where it looks like it's getting close to it, but I don't want it to feel like it's going at the same time. Still got to figure out what I'm going to do and how I'm going to approach that tail. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of jaw here. This is probably going to be too much on this jaw, but we'll go ahead and see here. Now see here. Too much. It's an okay idea, but it's just too over animated. And it depends, it's all choice stuff with animation. It depends on what kind of vibe you're going for, what things you want to exaggerate, what things you don't. So there are some basic tenets to animation that you want to learn. You want to learn your, slow ins, your slow outs, your anticipation, your arcs, timing, all that stuff. But a lot of the nuanced stuff really just depends on what you want to exaggerate, what you want to do with the shot, what kind of story you want to tell, what kind of character you want your character to have. I've just kind of repeated the word character a couple times. And we're just delaying this one so that the top jaw will hit on the 6, but the tip of the jaw will hit on a different timing here. Kind of mix it up a little more. Try doing the inverse of that. And when I say that, I mean I'm just flipping, so the ups will be the downs and the downs will be the ups here. I also want to make it not as much, so let's tone it down a little more. Let's go ahead and look at that a little bit further. Let's look at the top of the mouth here. This, I want to make sure that I keep very minimal, even though it's a little bit exaggerated right now, because it's kind of more of a deformer and really a mover, but that's the controller that we have to use, so that's what we got. And what I mean by that is that instead of really like moving the top of the mouth, it's more just kind of bending this whole mouth in the geometry. And I tend not to use stuff like that because it's not as right, really. It should be set up so that you're moving things that would be bones and muscles, not things that you would be moving so like you turn it into some Play-Doh and then mush it around, kind of a thing. That makes sense. Let's go and clean that up. But I still want to try to use it if I can. Let's go and look at it. Okay. Now let's get it from the front. See, this is more of what I'm looking for. And again, I don't want to do too much of this either, because this is more accent stuff than really key stuff for this shot. But a lot of times the accents is what's really sell a character as well. I know I talk about this pretty fairly often, but if you watch the cinematic trailer for World of Warcraft Warlords of Draenor, one of my favorite things that the animators have done there, and you can see it in later ones that they do as well, but I think it's a great example, is for one of the characters, his name is Gul'dan. He's like this old, you may be familiar if not, he's kind of like this old evil wizard kind of thing would be a way to relate it to common knowledge things. And what they did is they gave him a hunch, which is great. You can always, it changes the way a person walks completely. They gave him so that it's not just a hunch over, but it's definitely, it favors one side. You can see one of his shoulders is cocked down, the other one's pulled back. And then when he talks, he over-exaggerates his lips on everything. So when he talks like this, with extra floppy lips and extra exaggeration in those, and it gives it so much character. And you know, that's not the storytelling moments, it's not the acting moments, it's just the things that give a character personality and a sense of realism, even in an unrealistic manner. But because you know people who are, you know, over exaggerated when they move their mouth, and you know people who walk a certain way or anything, and that's the kind of stuff that sells a character. It doesn't necessarily sell the idea of your story, but it sells that character has personality traits or quirks, or is more of a real character. I think that's the stuff that to me, when I watch a shot, that's the kind of stuff I look for, is, oh, that's a really unique way to move that, or anything that makes it feel like a real character. So definitely check that out if you haven't. I don't know if I've talked about that before, but it's definitely something that I rewatch a lot, actually. I mean, not every day all the time, but I've probably watched it more so than a lot of other animations lately, just because I really love the way that they did that character. I think it's a phenomenal way. Something they had in video games that you don't see a lot of these days. You see a lot of just, oh yeah, look at that crazy action shot or something, but you don't see a lot of those really good character moments that you see in polished, like, movie animation. But I personally tend to gravitate more towards video game stuff. Just always been how what I liked ever since I was little, and because I like the idea of that, I think kind of relates to the whole creative atmosphere. And maybe a little too flappy of a jaw. I just want to tone it down. From the side, I feel like it works pretty well. So maybe we'll do kind of a 3/4 view. And then it looks kind of like the chest is bumping the jaw. Oh, looks okay. Okay, and should we do a little bounce on the... We'll bring it back here. And bring it forward there. This is probably too over-exaggerated, so I'll pull it back. But anyways, like I was saying, one of the reasons that I personally gravitate more towards video game animation is because and I want to say this as correctly as I can, I don't think video game animation has been polished to the point that movie animation has been. It doesn't mean that there's not phenomenal character animators in video games, but if you watch a movie, you're going to get a different level of animation than you are in a video game. So I find that I want to, hopefully eventually, once life is a little different, get in there and help make the medium a little bit better if I can, in whatever way that I can. And the other is that I think that video game animation is so much more important than movie animation. to the viewer. Now, not in overall, but with the video games, you can really connect with your character. A person playing a game can really connect with their character, and if the animation is spot on, if it's great, it helps that connection more. Now, with the movie, you can connect to characters a lot, but it's a different kind of connection than versus you've created your own character in a virtual world, and that's your avatar that represents you. And if there's polished animation on there, it just helps sell that idea more. Just kind of let me know down what you think down below. If I'm totally off, if I'm rambling, I should just keep going back doing all that stuff. So I think the foot plants aren't that great with this shot because of the way the feet are. They're kind of reactive to the hips, and because we change the hips up a little bit more, it makes it so that we don't have as great of movement there. But I think it still works. It's just definitely something that if I was down hall from a rigger, I would say, hey, could you tweak this for me so that I can get these feet to really plant down and stick on the ground. We'll just do a little bit of bounce on these hands here, just so we can get some sort of keep alive on there. Let's go with that. Let's go with the transit line. I think I'm going to put them obviously on 3s. Or start on the 3 and this will be on 6s. Make sure that I'm not keying anything I don't need to. Okay, yeah. I think we could probably minimize it a little bit, and we're going to have to look at each curve individually here, so let's go ahead and even it up a little bit more and scale it back a little bit more, and then favor the bent rather than the stretch on these. And definitely want to get our key in there. So we adjusted the time, we got to punch in another key there. And let's go ahead and look at the other one here. Kind of do that same idea. We're just kind of toning it down a little bit more, adding that extra key in there, and favoring the bent shape here. Again, this is something where it's a little more like keep alive rather than a focal thing. And let's go ahead and do a little bit of that. Date X. Okay, I'll have to do each one individually. That's okay. exactly even. We want some variation in there. So we're not going to go in and definitely lock it down even, but just so that there's not a big move in there that would be distracting. Lift it up, and drag it down, lift it up, drag it down, lift it up, drag it down, and lift it up. Obviously, too over-exaggerated on that side, so I'll go ahead and scale it back some more. And there we go. And I'm just going to throw on, I don't think I did this yet, my second voice recorder, just in case the audio has any problems here. It's always good to have a backup, just like I say, save multiple versions and to save often, which, speaking of that, let's go ahead and do that again with our file. Just in case, you know, if there's a power outage or any sort of thing. Don't want to lose any of that time that you spent, because unlike, you know, painting, you don't necessarily always have a hard copy on here. This tail's going to be a little bit difficult to use, so let's go ahead and zero it out here. Let's see if we can get to kind of where it was to begin with. Just trying to see if we can really try and line it up here. Alright, I guess that works. What do we have there? Why do we have that? Because we turned 4 instead of 0, so let's go there, and let's go look at it again. I'm not going to be able to animate this that great, but I think we can still do something with it. So let's see. Something. I don't need to feel so bad here. Let's see here. Okay, let's approach it a different way. Let's get a section of the tail. Separated into 3 chunks. So our first chunk, our second chunk, and our third chunk. Again, we're going to definitely tone this down. Okay. So we just want a little bit of this. Just a little bit. said, this will be the thing that probably takes a little bit longer than normally would, because we have to do a workaround since this tail's a little broken with the way that we chose to animate our shot. And then we have to get into the fingers and the toes. And once we hit that, I think we'll call it good for the day. So probably another 15, 20 minutes if we work at a good speed. Maybe a little faster. And that's one of those things. There's a great quote that, for the life of me, can't seem to remember who said it. Is first you get good, and then you get fast, and then you get good and fast. And I think that's a good goal to have. That's for sure. And then we'll grab the second chunk, and we'll call. Guys, the second chunk. Then we'll do those. The threes. So that'll go. I don't mean threes, I just mean that starting at 3, still on 6s. Just so there's a little bit of break in that tail. And again, it's not going to probably be as loose as I would like it to be. But at least we'll get something out of it. Let's go ahead and clean that up a little more and tone it down as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at it now. Alright, that's a good place to start with. And then let's go ahead and grab these last ones here. I'll go back to our little round 6. See, it doesn't whip up very well, it just shortens. So I'll go ahead. Start a little better. Let's go look at it now. Maybe a little too much. Tone it down a little bit. And then I feel like most of it works okay. Excuse me, except for the base of the tail still feels really stiff. Again, I know it's not going to be exactly what I would love it to be, but I think we can still get some more loose stuff out of the tail. a little bit on the toes. I think we'll call it good for today. Oh, and the ears. I'm gonna do a little bit on the ears here. I'm just gonna lock in our main keys here. Do a little bit of drag there, a little bit of lift, point, again, drag there, lift. And then we'll take the index. A little bit forward frame. And we'll take the pinky. I'll drag them back a frame so that they're not hidden at the same time. Okay, so let's see. Intersect there. It's hidden down. Center in the middle, maybe a little more. Delete the pinky, maybe one more. See what that little display. And again. It's back there. Okay, and we'll go to the other side here. And we'll grab those and set that there, set that there, set that there. And then I'll drag them all down, lift them all up, and zero them out. Drag them all down, lift them all up, and zero them out. And we'll go ahead and lead with the index. We'll push that all forward a frame and follow with the pinky. And let's go ahead and tweak it a little bit, I'm sure. So index, we'll add a little bit lower so it doesn't intersect the ground there. Okay, a little bit lower. And let's go ahead and delay the landing a little bit so it's exaggerate the middle index a little bit more though. Raise them up a little bit. Okay, let's go. Okay, and let's go ahead and save our file, and we'll get into the other hand, and then we'll get a little bit in the ears, and then we'll call it good for today. So I'm going to grab all these, we're going to stretch them out. Stretch them out. And grab them up. Stretch them out. Grab them up. Stretch them out. And grab them up. So let's see here. I'm going to look at the mid here. Just since there's so much bend in it, we're going to have to approach this hand a little bit different than the other one here. And I'll go ahead and do the same on the index as well. Pinky. Actually, let's take the index and we'll exaggerate it a little more. Okay, and then I'll take this. Actually, for this one, I think since we already have enough variation, we'll just increase the pinky by or decrease the pinky by a frame and move the index forward a frame. So there's a little variation between the hands as well. Okay, we'll go ahead and save that, and then we'll go ahead and do a little bit on the ears, and we'll call it good for today. So do the first two. Obviously, we're going to scale this back because that's going to be too much movement. So I'll just scale it back here. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at that now. Okay, go to the other side. Okay, we'll just grab those two bottom ones. And we'll go down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And we'll do the same here. Even out the movement and minimize it a bit. Just kind of frame right there. Okay, and we'll go with our third and fourth one, and we'll go with those on 3. So those go down. Not on 3s, but they start 3 frames before. So that there's some variation. I find that's a good way to break things up, is to have whatever's leading the movement, and then what's following is 3 frames behind, and then what the extremity is goes back to the same timing as what was leading it, so that way there's a 3-frame breakup in between. I think that's for me, that's a good base formula to start with when you're trying to do movement, so that there's some like kind of breaking making a joint in between, or a variation in between. And let's go ahead and do the same on this side. So we're looking at 3, 4 here. We're going to start on 3, so it drags down there, goes up there, drags down there, goes up there, drags down there, goes up here. This one definitely has a lot of things to animate on it. And we definitely broke it probably in the way that it wasn't supposed to go, but I think it turned out, it's going to turn out alright. Still would like to have some better controllers for the tails, if they worked a little better, but I think we got something out of it at least that's presentable. The tail and the feet are definitely things I would have approached a little bit differently if I was the rigger here. And we're going to drag it down here. See how much more this one's broken up than the other one because we haven't done the tip yet. And I think we can probably still tone that down a little bit more. Maybe accentuate the middle portion of that ear just a bit. So that would be back to 3, 4. And 4. Let me grab it. We're just going to exaggerate that a little bit more than we had before. Not a lot, but a little bit, just so that break is a little bit more noticeable. Okay, and again, we're going to go into this side and drag it down, lift it up, and drag it down, lift it up, and drag it down, lift it up, drag it down, and lift it up. So let's see here. And let's go ahead and grab the 3rd and 4th again and exaggerate those a little bit more. Okay, let's go ahead and check out our shot pen again. I think that'll work. Again, I would love the feet to be a little bit different and the tail, but I think with totally breaking this rig, we managed to still be able to get something fairly decent out of it. And turn our textures back on. One thing I'm kind of noticing now that the textures are on and everything is that this may twist out a little bit more. Just doesn't look like it's poking in the elbow. Actually, maybe we'll go back to what we had before. That's what I want to do. Yeah, just leave it for now. Okay. We'll go ahead and turn on your curves. Let's grab this guy and scale him down a little bit longer. And go ahead and play that. Jerzy Drozd, he said, contributing in a positive way to your environment so that your name means something to people. Totally important, and I would say go further so that whatever you're creating means something to people. So that being said, thanks again for watching, everyone. I hope you liked this one. Definitely in the comments below, let me know if you ended up using this rig to make an animation of your own, or if there's things you would have done differently or approached different in the shot, or things that you liked and things that you learned. Definitely let me know in the comments below. That being said, you guys are awesome. You're wonderful. Keep creating. Keep on going on your journey. You can do it. And we will see you for some more animation tomorrow.